look at some vistas in Dad's stereopticon, it hit me that I was just this little girl, born in Texas, whose father was a sign painter, who had only just so many years to live. It sent a chill down my spine, and I thought, where would I be this very moment if Kid had never met me or killed anybody? This very moment. If my mom had never met my dad, if she'd have never died, and what's the man I'll marry going to look like? What's he doing right this minute? Is he thinking about me now by some coincidence, even though he doesn't know me? Does it show on his face? For days afterwards, I lived in dread. Sometimes I wished I could fall asleep and be taken off to some magical land. But this never happened.
That's a clip from 1973's Badlands, directed by Terrance Malik. And this is one of the movies you really need to see and a lot of people haven't heard of. It's loosely based on the true story of Charles Starkweather and Caroline Fugate, as is the movie Natural Born Killers with Woody Harrelson, California. There's another movie called Gun Crazy. Fugate was, and Caroline Fugate was 15 years old. Starkweather, I think, was 20, 21. Well, I've only been 19 when they met. Starkweather wanted to buy Fugate a gift at a gas station, just a stuffed animal, and he kept pressuring the guy to give it to him on credit. The guy wouldn't, so Starkweather shot him. Then he went to Caroline's house, killed her mother, killed her father, and clubbed to death her 2-year-old little sister. These were rough, ugly, evil people. And the movie is, again, loosely based on that. So what makes this movie so spectacular is it's kind of a suspense, it's kind of a murder thriller, but Malik doesn't treat it, the director Terrance Malik, he's awesome. He doesn't treat it the way a lot of people treat movies. The scenery here is big and open. He's not trying to confine you to a little space to heighten the tension. Think of the movie Rear Window. You're in that little room with James Stewart, looking at that little courtyard from those little apartments. Feels smaller and smaller and smaller as the tension builds. Psycho's the same way. A lot of directors do that. Malik doesn't. Another movie we're going to do of his that you really should see is A Thin Red Line. It's a war movie, but it's wide open. This is the open plains of Nebraska and Wyoming, and it messes with you a little bit because there is some tension to the movie when you're watching it. If you know the story behind it, and Charles Starkweather, you're hoping he gets shot and killed. But if you go into it not knowing that, he's kind of a likable guy at times. And Caroline Fugate just seems like a fish out of water the whole time. She's an awkward kid. It says right there at the beginning, she wasn't very popular in school. So she realizes that she's into it really deep, and they know there's no getting out of this. Like prison, death, the death penalty. And you realize that pretty quickly, too. I mean, the murder spree, like I said, they killed 11 people. During the trial, at first, Starkweather told the jury or the judge that Fugate wasn't really involved. He had kidnapped her. And then later on, he recanted and testified against her and said that wasn't true. And at one point, he said she did most of the killing and she was gun crazy. Who knows what the truth is? We probably never will. But this movie it's not just the cinematography. Martin Sheen plays this character who's clearly crazy perfectly throughout. He never really seems to realize what he's done. And McKenna keeps that consistent throughout the movie. He knows he's killed people. He knows he should go to prison, but he doesn't it's not that he even rationalizes it. He just goes about his business doing what he does. There's a great scene near the end here that I think I'm going to show you a clip of that too, where they're riding in the car with the cops, and he says, "You know who that son of a bitch looks like? It's James Dean." And Martin Sheen kind of smiles at him a little bit. It's the entire movie is like that. There's moments where you kind of not identify with him. You know he's nuts. But you kind of feel a little sorry for him at times because he clearly doesn't have much going on. And he latches onto her, and you kind of get this feel as it goes on, especially there in the clip we just showed. She realizes eventually what's happened to her. He stole her future from her. She was just an awkward 15-year-old kid. Well, a lot of kids are awkward at 15 and flourish and turn out to be beautiful women, successful men, but you don't know that when you're 15. And I always wondered, did Starkweather know that this is why he did this, is just to take advantage of her. Some other interesting parts of the movie, though, is I mentioned the broad and the wide open. And that works on all sides of the movie. There's a young couple that he murders, and he puts them in a little storm cellar before he kills them, but you're not in there with them. You're on the outside with Kit Carruthers, the character that's loosely based on Charles Starkweather, and you see the panoramic view from the background. You're wide out in the open as they're walking along towards this place. Everything's wide out in the open. And there are parts in it where people run from him, but when you're wide out in the open, there's nowhere to run. So that's not only true of his victims. When he finally gets caught, it's true of him as well. In Nebraska and Wyoming, in the open, wide open plains, there's nowhere for Starkweather and Fugate, or in this case, Kit Carruthers, his girlfriend, to run. It's never seen anything like this before, where the suspense doesn't change and it's not manipulated by the director. He lets the story tell the suspense. He lets the cinematography sell the suspense on its own, opened up. Very risky when he did this. Came out to good reviews. This has become a cult classic for a lot of film buffs over the years. And as I watch it, it seems to get better and better. I really enjoy this movie. It is not for everyone. It's gritty, it's brutal, it's rough. It's not a blood fest or gory in any way. But when you're watching it, you know at the back of your mind that this is real. And McKenna never lets you forget that. When he's in a house stealing a Cadillac from somebody and he kills those people, you never lose sight that these are innocent people. Like, this guy's there's no good in him at all. So here's the other clip I wanted to show you, and just watch the way Martin Sheen plays this.
You toss my hat out the window. I see.
So his big problem right there, gee, threw my hat out the window. He's in a police car there. He's heading for what he surely knows is his own demise. He's going to be executed, but that's what he's worried about. There's a lot of scenes like that in the movie that McKenna just sets up Terrance Malik just sets up perfectly, and that's one of them. There are little things you watch and you see through the movie when he's finally detained with the police and he passes out his comb and his lighter as souvenirs. It's really interesting. Not only did Malik direct this, he also wrote the screenplay. And the coolest trivia I think of this one is there was an actor hired to play, I think it's an architect, that's coming to this rich guy's house and ask him a few questions, and the architect's already dead. Kit Carruthers, Sheen's character, has killed him. Well, the actor didn't show up, and the guy that shows up, or that plays the guy, is actually the director, Terrance Malik. I think I don't know why, but it just adds so much to the movie for me. This is a 10 out of 10. It is also, it's not my top 10 or 20, but it's on my list of greatest 100 films of all time, just because it is so well pieced together. I like these movies that have no imperfections in them. Why isn't higher? There's not a lot to this at the end of the day. There's no way to develop the characters. He's a cold-blooded killer. She's a 15-year-old girl. They're not going to learn anything on their journey. It's the one part we saw at the beginning. All she learns is she's made a horrible mistake, and she wonders what her life could have been. Kit Carruthers doesn't learn anything at all. So that's missing, and I kind of like that in a movie when people learn lessons or whatever. You get something out of it more than just the information that these two were in a bad mix together. He was evil, she was easily influenced. So check this one out. I really think most of you will like it. It is this is one of the ones, and I'll tell you this from time to time as you get into this, this is one you got to be in a mindset to watch. Get yourself a Coke, some popcorn, sit there, ease into the movie before you start. Be a little bit relaxed, because it's a rough ride psychologically for you to watch this, especially knowing, again, it's not entirely true, but it is based on that true story, and from everything I've read, it holds pretty true. So enjoy this one. It's one of my lost classics, or movies you need to see that you probably never heard of. And I'm doing 10 of those. And another one's by, like I said, Terrance Malik, and that's called The Thin Red Line. It's a war movie, but we'll get into some details of this one. It's very different than any other war movie you've ever seen. So hope you like this. Let me know if you have other little hidden gems of yours that you'd like me to check out. Thank you.